Okay, the first question reads, what side hustle can I start with only $200 in Africa? Well, first off, $200 really is not going to get you far. $200, to be honest, is more than enough to get started with a side hustle. And with any side hustle, or should I say, before starting any kind of side hustle, even if it's an offline traditional business, you still need an online presence. So, your online presence is going to be your domain name, your www.com URL address. In case you don't know what a URL is, it's called a Uniform Resource Locator, or HTTPS, Hypertext Transfer Protocol. HTTPS is the secure form of HTTP. That is your domain name. You need a domain name, which is also your online real estate. This will let people know where you're located, and you having your own URL address is the best way to get started because it shows people that you're serious about your online business. The second thing, and before I go into the second thing, a domain name is about $20 a year, maybe a little bit more because of inflation and because of the Russia-Ukraine crisis. Shouldn't be no more than $25 a year. The second thing that you need small business dedicated web hosting. If you're just starting out with a side hustle, that should run you no more than $100 a year. Until your blog starts growing traffic, you need to focus on a small business dedicated web hosting package. Maybe it might be around 100, a little bit more than 100, maybe under or close to or about $100. I'm not quite sure. You can check out the link in the YouTube video description below this video for more details on getting started with paid web hosting. Even if the paid web hosting package roughly runs you around $125 per year, plus an additional $25 a year for your domain, that's about $150 a year. So with $150 a year, you're still saving $50 because if you only have $200 to start up, then you've already spent $150. So now, if you decide to go that route and get small business paid web hosting and a domain name, be mindful after you finish paying your fees for the domain name and the hosting to ask your web hosting provider to install WordPress on your small business dedicated server for you. Once you have WordPress installed, which is a free blog semantic publishing platform, then you need to brainstorm and pick a niche topic. I tell everyone this: working class people, broke people, people who are rich, some people who might be rich that I probably forgot that I talked to. You need to pick a niche topic that you are passionate about. So in Africa, there's many interesting things going on. There's African food, there's African culture, there's the African way of life, there's animals in Africa. What are you passionate discussing in a blog post? There's all kinds of wildlife in Africa. So, for example, if you live in Africa, you decide to get your own domain name, paid web hosting, you get your WordPress blog, you're finally online, up and running. Center the topic of your blog around, let's say, animals. So if you want to talk about the zebras, the lions, the alligators, the what's those? Forget the name of those other ones. Anyways, each animal species should be a different category on your WordPress blog. So you should create different categories within your WordPress dashboard for zebras, lions, cheetahs, goats, sheep. You don't create one main category and talk about everyone, because by creating different categories, you're actually allowing the search engines to better understand what the content of your site is about. And by creating different categories on your WordPress blog discussing about things in Africa, you're actually showing the search engines that your WordPress site is well structured in terms of having organized categories. So one of your, like I said, a couple of your categories can be about specific animals. And then you can create other categories on your WordPress blog about African home cooking, fishing in Africa, going to college in Africa. And if those are the topics that you're passionate about writing, write to your heart's content about things that are going on that you're passionate about in Africa. So while you're writing, you're consistently blogging, you can also perform a search in Google or Bing or any of the other major search engines for well-paying. Write this down on a piece of paper. You ready? Okay. Write down this on a piece of paper and then punch it into your search engine. Well-paying affiliate ad networks. Let me say it again. Well-paying affiliate ad networks. And if you want to take it a step further, you can also go into the search engine and punch in well-paying affiliate ad networks in Africa and see what the search engines tell you. While you're searching for well-paying affiliate ad networks in Africa or throughout the internet, you can also join Google AdSense as an aspiring publisher. So while you're filling out your AdSense application and awaiting for Google to approve your AdSense publisher application, consistently keep blogging, because Google is going to come by your blog and they want to see that you're consistently writing while awaiting approval. Don't get lazy, because Google will know, and that can delay the approval of your AdSense publisher application. While you're writing, you're building up traffic from search engines, and you're also putting your blog in a position to potentially earn traffic 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 2 to 3 years from now. So, with minimal investment, the true investment is going to be investing in yourself. This is an effort-based operation. Without knowing anything about the internet, blogging is the easiest side hustle anyone can do in Africa or throughout the world, because what you're doing is you're putting your ideas, your feelings, whatever you want to write into a blog post. And with blogging, there's no technical coding required. You don't need previous marketing experience. All you need to focus on first and foremost is creating and publishing content to your blog consistently. Number two, this is a no-brainer. You need to keep your hosting bill and your domain bill paid at least 2 to 3 years ahead of time. So this way, while you're building up the traffic of your blog to your blog in Africa, you have a peace of mind knowing the following year you don't have to pay your bill, because you've already paid your hosting bill and your domain bill 2 to 3 years ahead of time. This gives you a peace of mind knowing you can create content. So with that said, within your blog, you're also encouraged to use your camera phone or a GoPro video camera, take photos and create videos, and include those photos and videos in the body of your blog. When you include photos, images, and video in the body of your blog posts, that'll attract people faster to read your posts and to share your content. And when people share your content throughout Africa, that's called free advertising, and free advertising turns into steady streams of blog ad revenue. I hope this answer answers someone's question in Africa. Thank you. This core question says, how do you sell an expensive product to broke people who need it? Well, in my personal opinion and my human feelings, this sounds like to me a financially broke person asking strangers how to sell an affiliate product to other broke people across the internet. That's what this sounds like to me. I might be wrong, but anyways, I am happy to answer this question because I'm humble enough to say I have been broke myself many, many, many times. But the goal is to never give up. Regardless how many times you go broke or fall down in life, you get right back up and keep going, because always remember, life is a daily fight inside the mind in achieving supremacy over adversity. And adversity opens doors of spontaneous opportunity. Moving forward, selling an expensive product to broke people who need it. How to sell it. The first initial action step I would definitely recommend is starting a video channel, because starting a video channel, you allow people to see your face, to get used to the way you talk, to get used to your personality, and you want to start a video channel off on the right foot, not by selling anything, just being your plain Jane self and just introducing yourself to the internet world. And going forward from there, telling people about yourself, where you're from, how you came up, what city and state you're from, all that good stuff. Just be your natural self in a YouTube video as if you were having a fluent conversation with another human being. If you come off in every video trying to sell something, most people get turned off by that. So with that said, sometimes it's the best way, in my personal opinion, to sell to people is starting off not trying to sell. And then once people get used to your character and your vernacular, then you can transition into a warm, I say warm, lukewarm selling. Not cold, lukewarm selling. Okay, selling an expensive product, how to do it. Well, first you need to identify all of the features, benefits of this product. Because let me tell you, regardless if a person is broke or rich, if they feel they have a need for it, or if it benefits them in any way, they will find the money to buy it from you. It's just like every new pair of Jordans that come out. I mean, who's the majority of the people that are buying up Jordans? It's broke folk. Okay? People in the hood that ain't got a dime in their name and ain't got a pot to piss in. And probably unemployed, broke, but some kind of way they finding the money to buy the newest pair of Jordans that come out when they ain't got no doggone job. And probably got 5 cents in their bank account. So with that said, if a person really feels that the product benefits them and it'll help them to complement their lifestyle or to help them change for the better, they'll find a way to buy it. Identify the features and benefits of the product. When you learn and master the features and benefits of the product, then what you need to do is you need to go on video and be confident, absolutely confident, with unshakable faith about the product or service you're selling. And once you know the ins and outs of that expensive product or service, go into your YouTube video, compose yourself, be very calm, and explain in your best words how this expensive product will benefit broke people. Also explain to them that this is not just a product or service they're purchasing just to say that they have something tangible in their hands. This is something that will help them to get further in life, whatever it is. And rather than looking at the product or service as a price, explain to people for the amount that you're about to pay. This is not really considered a price, but let them know in your own words, this is an investment that you're making in yourself. For example, let's say if a person does have a job, they're doing pretty good and they're buying Jordans left and right, right? Some people buy Jordan sneakers just to say, oh, I got the newest pair. I got all the Jordans. Rather than a person who is stocking up Jordans, not just to say, I got the latest Jordans, I got all of this, I'm fly. They're stocking up Jordans because they know stocking them up, that's an investment. So if poop hits the fan later on in life, the person who's stocking up on Jordans and is holding down a job and doing well, if poop hits the fan in their life later on, then they can sell those expensive Jordans at a higher price because they invested in those Jordans back there. They can sell at a higher price, and who's likely to buy those Jordans? Most likely broke folks. They're gonna spend $600, $700, $800 because they didn't get to catch the Jordans back there. Some people didn't get to catch them back there, but hopefully you see where I'm going with this. And if you are one of those people that, let's say, invest in buying Jordans just to hold on to them to sell later, then if you choose to sell them later online at a higher price, it's going to be an easy sell because everybody likes Jordans. Well, almost everyone, correction. And you can also explain to people for a pair of Jordans that you might be selling for $800 is not just another pair of sneakers. This is an investment that you're making now, because for the $800 that you're about to pay, these sneakers priced now at $800, 20 years from now might be worth almost $10,000. So that's one of many ways that you can explain to people how, they can invest in something now and it'll be worth more later by selling an expensive product or somewhere around in that ballpark. Hopefully this gave you something to think about, because there are many, many, many ways to sell expensive products to broke people who really need it on the internet. The internet is catering to a mass market. This is not like knocking on strangers' doors and either, getting cussed out or whatever the case is. This is catering to a mass market. So when you're selling products and services to people online and they reject you, the good thing about it is you don't have to look at them. You don't have to deal with them offline. And you don't have to know them personally. There will be someone else in a shorter time span who will likely look at your expensive product and purchase it, because when you're sleeping, your product is still selling online, because again, this is the internet. This is not like a traditional business where you close your gates on your storefront 7, 8, 9 o'clock at night. No, your product is selling while you're sleeping, especially if you're promoting it in a YouTube video. When do you know YouTube to close down and say, okay, we close at 10 o'clock at night? No. If you're promoting your product or service within a YouTube video, YouTube is on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days, or 366 days a year. If you have a leap year, it's 366 days. So expensive products are an easy sell. If you have patience, you can market the links to products and services that cost a pretty penny in YouTube videos. And then when you market them in YouTube videos, you take that YouTube video link and then you go and promote that YouTube video link on Reddit, Twitter, Facebook, Pinterest, LinkedIn, Flipboard, and then you email that YouTube link to family and friends. Someone's going to buy sooner or later. Hopefully This answers someone's question out there about selling expensive products. When you work overtime on your job, you typically work overtime for time and a half. But what your boss or operations coordinator or assistant vice president or team lead doesn't tell you is that the truth is you are trading time for money. And man, let me just tell you real quick. I worked in a bank for a temp agency, third shift in Newark one time, and our, I guess, team lead or operations coordinator then transitioned into assistant vice president. His name was Paul, and that's his real name, by the way. And Paul is from Harlem. He used to work for Goldman Sachs in New York before moving down yonder. And Paul was my, I guess, operations coordinator / team leader / assistant vice president of my group at the time. So I was working on a special bank project. I'm still not, even though the job didn't work out, I'm not going to tell exactly what the project was because I'm not a snitch. But Paul would come to me on many occasions. I worked third shift from 11 o'clock until 7:30 a.m. But we had like 30 minutes for lunch, so it was really, 11 to 7:30. That was my shift. So on many occasions, Paul came to me he came close to the end of my shift when the sun was coming up, and he would ask me, "You want to work overtime?" Sometimes I did. Honestly, yeah, I needed the money. I ain't gonna say I'm not gonna lie, I did. But then Paul and I got into a little fallout, and I to this day I don't hate the guy or anything. He had his viewpoint, I had my viewpoint, but towards the end of my assignment at the bank, we didn't get along. We really weren't on speaking terms. But there were many times he came to me and asked me to work overtime, and sometimes I would get really pissed off because I had this raging headache. And all I was ready to do, I was ready to clock out before 7:30 and go home because sometimes I just didn't want to work overtime, and I was just sick of being in that environment. And, I was trading time for money. I really, really was. And after a while, I just got sick of it, and I have to, I said to myself, well, I have to get in that mindset and learn to start saving my money and investing in my business or investing in growing my money either online or through another alternative way, because working for someone else just ain't going to cut the mustard for me anymore, man. I don't like getting up and going to work for people. So the question here says, is it better to work overtime shifts at work or to spend that time developing a side hustle? If you need to work the overtime, judge it accordingly how many hours you're going to put into it. But I'm going to be honest with you. You are trading time for money. And trading time for money is really not good. I did it. I traded time for money. And it wasn't good on my behalf, and I'm telling you the same thing. I did it. And even though my flesh didn't want to do it, I did it at the time. But then there was other times I turned it down. I knew it was extra money. I turned the money down because I just didn't feel like doing it. And I knew I was trading time for money. And my brain was just spinning. I couldn't wait to get out of that bank and just get home and just jump right into bed because my brain was just so drained. Sometimes you need to turn down the overtime and just work on your side hustle. But when you turn down the overtime, let it teach you another subliminal lesson about good money management, managing your money wisely. Don't go out and spend money that you can't afford them Jordans. You can't afford that low. You can't, you're struggling to pay the rent. So that little bit of money that you have in the bank, don't go out trying to buy a used Mercedes Benz because you're going to break the bank and you're not going to have any money to invest in your side hustle. Work on developing your side hustle, because working overtime is not going to get you a healthy pension check. When it's time, if you make it to retirement, whatever your current salary is may be allegedly hacked in half for your pension. And then you get taxes taken out of that hacked in half salary correction. So it's really a no-win for you working overtime in longevity. But if you choose to work overtime in short spurts, use your best judgment, because everyone can use a little extra cash. Just don't make it a habit, because when you turn down your overtime and buckle down and really get serious about your side hustle, that time that you could be developing your side hustle, you could be creating content, you could be strategizing on a niche for your new YouTube channel. You could be learning how to create and manage your own pay-per-click ad campaigns for promoting affiliate links. You could be going to the thrift store with just $50 to $100, buying things that you know that you can flip online at a markup price. You could be selling on eBay or LetGo or OfferUp.com, or you could be selling on Mercari, or you could even be selling on Amazon Marketplace for a markup price. So don't put all of your eggs in one basket in working overtime, because just remember, job means just over broke. And I say this time and time again. Even with a college degree, I have a 3.5 GPA. I graduated from Wilmington University, and I'm blessed to have zero student debt. I went to school on scholarship and a grant. And thank God, thank you, Lord Jesus, I don't owe anyone anything. Even though I have zero student debt and I have 3.5 GPA, I still worked overtime on a job. But I knew that overtime was not going to get me a promotion. I knew that overtime was not going to get me a higher hourly pay. I wasn't going to get a pay raise. I knew I wasn't going to advance in the company. I knew I did not have a future working for that bank in third shift. I ended up getting wrongfully terminated. So working overtime, don't put all your hope and faith in that, because even that right there could be the breaking point for you mentally burning out and feeling so fatigued that you're not ambitious, you're just not driven for a side hustle. And let me tell you, a side hustle can make you a millionaire. This is an effort performance marketing based industry. It is free will. This is not like a regular job where you have to get up and go to work in the morning and be there at a certain time and clock in. Working overtime, you have to stay clocked in. You have to work around people you don't want to look at. You have to work for managers or shift supervisors that you probably don't want to get along with. Working overtime, you're still prone to being wrongfully terminated. Okay, let that sink in. Working overtime is not going to get you favoritism. Working overtime is not going to earn you a healthy financial future. Take your money from your overtime earnings and invest in your side hustle. And I would also recommend researching cryptocurrency. Learn about cryptocurrency, because taking $50, $100, $200, even $500 from your overtime money and maybe putting it into cryptocurrency, digital currency, is likely to flip you into thousands of dollars down the road. So with all of this said, let it sink in. Working for someone else does not guarantee you a secure job. Thank you so much for listening. This is Sean with Side Hustle Inspiration. Hope you got something out of this. Over and out. Peace. I wanted to get on camera for a little while and thank everyone again for watching the channel and for supporting Side Hustle Inspiration on YouTube. And always know in the back of your mind that a job means just over broke. A side hustle builds personal confidence. A side hustle helps you to discover a new you. And a side hustle also liberates you from the parallels of being confined to an unthankful employer who just wants to keep your mind in bondage and working paycheck to paycheck.